Hello again and welcome to another Mordian Glory Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard video. Today is a very exciting day, gentlemen, as today is the day that the Mordian Regimental tactics have been announced. I am super excited just because Regimental tactics are back. I know Katachan's ones came out yesterday and I will be covering those in due course. But I also have, just to get you guys even more excited, I have some inside information on how conscripts are going to be nerfed. Okay, but you're going to have to wait for that because today is going to be the Mordian video, and then tomorrow I may do the conscript sneak peek or I'll do the Katachan review. We'll see how it goes. But fuck conscripts, fuck Katachans. It's time to get hyped for the Mordians. So obviously, I am super excited about this. I have already read it through, and I'm going to bring the tone down a bit now. I'm going to get rid of the fanboyism, do a objective assessment. I have already read through the Mordian Regimental Tactics. I'm not going to lie, it's not awesome. It's cool, but the Regimental Doctrines are kind of situational, shall we say. Situational. So, you'll see what I mean when we go in. I think that it's not completely useless. I just don't think that the Mordian Regimental Doctrines are quite as strong as the Katachan ones. I'm going to say that straight away. I could be wrong, although the Mordian Special Order is very powerful. We'll get to that in due time. Anyway. So the article starts off: Mordian armies are famed for their supreme discipline, forming unbreakable defensive ranks that can repel even the most dedicated assault. I guess that is true. We do form ranks. We are famous for defending our homeworld against the forces of chaos by just forming ranks and never retreating. I think that's pretty cool. The Regimental Doctrine, then, is the Mordian Parade Drill. Mordian regiments are proud, unyielding soldiers. They fight and die facing the enemy, standing tall in ordered ranks and unleashing devastating fusillade of lasfire. If the base of every model in an infantry unit with this doctrine is touching the base of at least one other model from the same unit, so everyone's touching base to base, the unit has +1 leadership, and you can add 1 to hit rolls made for models in that unit when firing Overwatch. You can add 1 to hit rolls made for vehicles with this doctrine when firing Overwatch if they are within 3 inches of 1 or more other friendly Mordian vehicles. Okay, so what does this mean precisely? What does this mean? Well, it means that assaulting a Mordian line is going to be pretty difficult. I mean, it basically means your opponent is going to take more damage on the way in. Which is always a good thing when facing an assault army. But that's the key, isn't it? An assault army. 8th edition, like 6th edition, like 7th edition, is an edition of shooting. And so having a doctrine which protects you from assault is kind of on the wrong end of the spectrum. You sort of want a doctrine that makes you better at shooting. And whilst this does technically make you better at shooting, it really makes you better at defending. I mean, when you think about it, entire games can go by very easily in 8th edition. Entire games can go by with no assault phase. You know, an Imperial Guard versus an Elder army, Imperial Guard versus a Tau army, Imperial Guard versus a Space Marine army. The vast majority of armies that we're going to face aren't assault armies. So this is not a buff which is going to be always in play. The +1 leadership is fine. I kind of like that. Essentially, we had the similar thing with Kathjans where they get +1 leadership. Yeah, so it's essentially, it's giving guard access to their old leadership ways, which is, you know, leadership 8. It means you're less reliable on commissars. I think as people are going to start learning how to easily snipe out commissars and other stuff, this kind of doctrine is useful to have. Also means you don't have to babysit your guys anymore. I mean, at the end of the day, if you have a commissar, he's leadership 8, and you've got a infantry squad running around, they're now leadership 8 as well, if they're in parade drill, if you've got the sergeant alive. So that's good. The vehicle one is kind of interesting. I mean, they go on later to mention how amazing Lehman Russ Punishers are going to be. And that is true. You know, a Lehman Russ Punisher, the Fireball Russ, which everyone's been going on about, has got even better, because it means that your Lehman Russes are doing the 3d6 heavy flamer shots, and then you're doing 20 Punisher shots hitting on 5s, or maybe better if you see what's coming up later. But it's kind of good. It's just, I don't know, I was expecting something lasgun related. I mean, they even specifically say in the little description, they fight and die face the enemy standing tall in ordered ranks and unleashing a devastating fusillade of lasfire. So, can I have better lasguns? If I think, you know, maybe this is a bit much to ask. Maybe this is a little bit much to ask, but I think a better buff would have been if everyone is ranked up shoulder to shoulder with lasguns only, because that makes it more balanced. +1 to hit. +1 to hit with lasguns. That makes more sense. But people will say, oh, well, that means you've got conscript sitting on a 4+. Yes and no. It will be quite hard to make sure a whole fucking full blob of 50 conscripts is all ranked up shoulder to shoulder all the time. If one of them is out, then that's it. You know, so it is quite hard. So I think that would have been better. As is the parade drill, I am neither happy nor disappointed. I am just a bit meh about it. It's a meh one. It's not particularly useful. It just is. You'll probably end up forgetting it half the time. Anyway. I mean, the whole army can essentially benefit from it. I mean, that's kind of cool. I mean, it even says from the humble conscript to the Baneblade. I mean, one thing to mention is it essentially means conscripts suffer no penalties on Overwatch, because they hit on 5s normally, or they hit 5s on Overwatch. But ask yourself this: how much damage do conscripts realistically do? Not a lot. So there you go. Moving on, Lehman Russ moves on to the Lehman Russes now. Lehman Russ, these aren't Mordian specific though. These are Astra Militarum generic bonuses, so that's why I'm a little about it. But anyway, so essentially there's Astra Militarum stratagem called Defensive Gunners. It is Astra Militarum, not Mordian specific, so everyone can do this. If you when a vehicle is use the stratagem when a charge is declared against one of your Astra Militarum vehicles. When that unit fires Overwatch's phase, they successfully hit on a roll of a 5 or 6 instead of a 6. Combine that with the Mordian parade drill, and you've got Lehman Russes doing Overwatch on a 4+. That's cool. But again, it's only for Overwatch. So again, there will be entire games. I have had the vast majority of my games. No one has charged my Lehman Russes. So again, yeah, it's great. Lehman Russes hitting Overwatch on a 4+. It's kind of like, well, that's still situational. Still very situational. I mean, yeah, against this is, if you're playing as Mordians, you know, your assault armies are already fucked against guard as it is. Now they're just double extra buggered with a side of sweet salty tears. But my point is, if guard are already finding it very easy to deal with assault armies, having a bunch of doctrines and stratagems that make it even easier to defeat assault armies isn't really that useful. Anyway. So the next one is another generic buff. This one is actually genuinely very good. Grinding Advance. The Leman Russ's sturdy frame allows it to keep up a fearsome rate of fire as it advances on its foe. If this model moves under half speed in its movement phase, not at half speed, under half speed, i.e. it moves distance in inches less than half of its current move characteristic, it can shoot its turret weapon twice in the following shooting phase. The turret weapon must target the same unit both times. Furthermore, hit rolls of the model's turret weapon do not suffer the penalty for moving and shooting a heavy weapon. Oh, we know that. So, essentially, if your Leman Russes stay still, Grinding Advance allows any Leman Russ moving at under half its allotted move value. Okay, well, if I stay still, I have moved under half my value, then I get to shoot twice. Which is fucking fantastic. That's absolutely amazing. I mean, could it be argued that if you don't move, then technically you haven't moved under half? I don't know. I don't think that's true, though. My argument is, if it says you must move under half your distance, then staying still is, by definition, you have not moved. You have moved 0 inches. 0 inches is moving less than moving 5 inches. So all Leman Russes get to fire twice now with their turret weapons. May I just say, hello there, Mr. Exterminator. We have been asking for a long time, please can our exterminators have more shots? This is a way of doing it. Now, is it going to, because it affects all Leman Russes, is the exterminator still going to be outclassed? I mean, 2d6 battle cannon shots? 2d6 Punisher cannon shots? Oh, yes, baby. 2d6 Punisher cannon shots? No, not 2d6. 2 times Punisher cannon shots? Hello, 40 Punisher cannons. Punisher cannon shots? Hello, they're hitting on 3s. Yum, yum, yum. I mean, fuck the Eradicator. Plasma Cannon 1 could see more use again. I think my number one is 40 Punisher Cannon shots hitting on with Pask, 40 Punisher Cannon shots hitting on a 2+. Hello. Very tasty indeed. Very, very tasty. So, just want to say, absolutely fantastic buff for the Leman Russ. For all you treadheads out there who have been feeling a little miffed, Leman Russes are good. This now means, whilst I will be using lots of my Mordian tanks. I have 10 Leman Russes. I will be fielding probably 3 or 4 every game now, because they can put out an insane amount of firepower, which is great. Also, it says here, Leman Russes in every regiment will have also seen a small points discount. Excellent. So that means that Leman Russes are going to be cheaper and putting out more firepower. Hello. Very, very tasty. I am a very, very happy guard commander. I'm not necessarily a particularly happy Mordian commander, but I am a very, very happy guard commander in general. So that's good. Now, the final part of the article talks about veteran squads and the new Mordian order. This, guys, this is where I think Mordians have won big time. Okay? It's not situational. You're going to the order that we have is, I know I'm going to hype it up here, the order we have is something that you will be able to use every single game. You will probably find it very, very useful. And it is just another big reason to be taking Plasma Veterans. Plasma Veterans are going to be seeing a lot of time. Okay? Remember, this is the reason this order is so good is it gives you a viable alternative to using Militarm Tempestus Scions. Okay, now I have hyped this enough. The unique specific Mordian order is Form Firing Squad. With but a word from their commanding officer, the Mordian infantry take on the role of executioners. Until the end of the phase, the ordered unit can target characters with their rapid-fire weapons, even if they are not the closest enemy unit. Very tasty. Very, very, very tasty. It doesn't, again, it's not amazing balls. I don't actually see myself using this order every single turn. Not at all, but it is very, very useful because Mordians, traditionally, we don't take snipers, and it just means that you can have plasma guns as sniper rifles now. It's any rapid-fire weapon, las guns, plasma guns. It's another nail in the coffin for fucking grenade launchers. And when you think about it, it makes plasma guns the only weapon you're going to want to take in your Mordian infantry squads. I mean, it already was. But the fact, because it's either las guns or plasma guns, melter, no, flamer, no, grenade launcher, no, sniper, well, no point. So yeah, it makes plasma guns really, really good. So as Games Workshop have said, Mordian armies are perfect if you want to punish assault armies or if you're just sick of powerful enemy characters. I'm not going to lie, overall, I don't know, maybe I'm being a whiny little bitch. Maybe I am. Please tell me if I am. But don't you guys just get the general feeling that it's just not that good? I mean, now that I've read that order out loud, I mean, it's kind of good. What are you going to do about commanders in vehicles? I mean, most of the time, the order's okay. The order is okay, but I don't know. I just don't think. I think what's left a bad taste in my mouth is the parade drill. I just think it's a bit shit. I definitely think it's going to be I think Mordians will have the weakest set of whatever the fuck you call it. Weakest set of regimental doctrines. I don't know. I just don't see it as being particularly useful. Like I said, the only reason I'm being a bit of a bitch about it is vehicles. Assault armies are already struggling against guard because we can just fall back and then get back in the fight. And I would rather have a doctrine that was useful against all opponents and always was in play than a doctrine that was situational. An example of this is the Katachan one, Brutal Strength. Very simply, Katachan units with this doctrine add +1 to their strength characteristic. That's it. No messing around. They don't have to be in base to base. They don't have any restrictions on them. They don't have to be in base to base. They just get +1 strength. They also get the +1 leadership if they're within 6 inches of a friendly Katachan officer, which is pretty easy to do. And each time a vehicle with doctrine fires a ranged weapon that makes a random number of attacks, e.g. heavy D6, you can re-roll one of the dice used to determine the number of attacks made. So, I mean, the Katachan ones are amazing. That Brutal Strength, the reason it's so good, and I will obviously do a more in-depth thing on this later in another video, but comparing that to the Mordian one is, that means in defense, Katachans get +1 strength, so that doctrine is good for defense, like the Mordian one. However, unlike the Mordian one, it's also good on the offense, because you can charge people and beat the crap out of them with your +1 strength. Power axes, wounding Marines on 3s. Anything less than a Marine, wounding them on 3s. Power fists, strength 8 power fists for guard now on their officers. On the veterans. Or whoever can get a fucking power fist. Now that's so much better. And again, obviously their regimental doctrine affects their vehicles as well. They get to re-roll a dice used to determine the random number of attacks. So basically, and now correct me if I'm wrong, but it means that if you have a Catachan Lehman Russ battle tank that stays still, it is going to be able to fire 2d6 shots and every phase and re-roll one of the dice to work out how many shots you get. Maybe it re-rolls both. I mean, it gets to fire twice. I mean, let's look at the interaction here. It can shoot its turret weapon twice in the following shooting phase. Okay, it can shoot its weapon twice. Each time the vehicle fires a ranged weapon that makes a random number of... Each time a vehicle with this doctrine fires a ranged weapon that makes a random number of attacks, you can reroll one of the dice used to determine. Well, you're firing twice. So by definition, this is how I would interpret it. The grinding advance, you may fire your turret weapon twice. You're not doubling the number of shots, you are firing it twice. So you fire it once, resolve the damage, do the result, and then fire again, do the result. That means with Catachans, each time a vehicle fires a ranged weapon with a random number of attacks. So the first time you fire the ranged weapon, roll d6. With the Catachan Doctrine, reroll the number of dice used. Then, because of grinding advance, you roll again. You get to fire twice the second time you fire. Which means again you would get to reroll the dice. I think it could be argued that way. Now maybe that's me just being bitter, and maybe that's me looking at the Catachan Regimental Doctrine a bit strongly. But holy shit, that is amazing. That is amazing. 2d6 battle cannon shots. Re-rolling the number of dice. Holy shit. That is incredible. That is really, really, really good. I mean, anyway, we'll get into Catachans later, but now hopefully you can see why I'm disappointed with the Mordian Regimental Doctrine and why I'm really, really amazed and happy for the Catachan Doctrine. Hopefully you can see that now. Mordian one, very situational. Very situational. Isn't going to, in many battles, is never ever going to even come up. Not many. I'd say at least half your battles, it's never going to come up. And even when it does come up, it's never going to make a huge, significant impact. It's never going to be a significant impact. The Catachan Doctrine is going to be useful, especially on their vehicles, especially on the Lean Russes, every single turn. Catachan Lean Russes are now a really, really big deal. They go on about Mordian Lean Russes. No. Catachan Lean Russes are insanely powerful now. So, tell me what you guys think. Tell me if I've missed anything. Tell me if I'm, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Maybe I'm being a little bit pessimistic. Maybe I'm being a little bit of a whiny bitch. Maybe. But as far as I'm concerned, the Mordian Regimental Doctrine is a bit disappointing. I am very, very happy of all the buffs the Leman Russes are getting. Defensive gunners, grinding advance, points reductions is great. I am warm towards the Mordian Order, although again, it's not going to be absolutely amazing, and it only really affects lasguns and plasma guns. Shooting lasguns, you've seen in one of my battle reports, trying to take Mephiston down with lasguns. Trying to take Mephiston down with lasguns, trying to take any major character down with lasguns is not that useful. So that order isn't great for lasguns. It's good for plasma guns, but essentially we have an order that affects one decent weapon in our whole army. Not sure how I feel about that. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please give me lots of feedback. Tell me if you're excited, tell me if I've missed anything. And of course, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.